Hi, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where today we're discussing Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. More specifically, the beginning of Chapter 5. We're talking about knowledge, the fourth step to riches. Napoleon Hill points out to us that there are two kinds of knowledge. One is general and one is specialized. General knowledge, no matter how great in quantity, no matter how varied it is little use when it comes to the accumulation of money. And honestly, all we have to do is look at our universities, don't we, and our education system in terms of money-making enterprises. The faculties of great universities possess in aggregate practically every form of general knowledge known to civilization, and yet most of the professors have little or no money. They specialize on teaching knowledge, but they don't specialize in the organization or use of knowledge. And I think that's the biggest thing we're going to be able to take away from our discussion today. Just my thought, please. You know, I want your input. They specialize in the teaching, but they don't specialize in the organization or use of that knowledge. Knowledge doesn't attract money unless it's organized, intelligently directed through practical plans of action toward the definite end of accumulation of money. Lack of understanding of this fact has been the source of confusion to millions of people who falsely believe that knowledge is power. It's nothing of the sort. See, he just blew my statement away, didn't he? Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it's organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. So the missing link in all systems of education known to civilization today may be found in the failure of educational institutions to teach their students how to organize and use knowledge after they acquire it. Oh Lord, this is so my experience. I know a lot of things, but I wasn't making it. I can just stop right there. We could talk about that. Honest to goodness, I know a lot of things. I have learned to find a lot of things. It's part of what I do for other people. I only was able to begin making money with what I know and how to find that stuff when I organized it and presented it as a package, as a solution to a company's problem. Put it that way, maybe that helps. I still believe knowledge is power because potential power, action is profitable. All right, so we can't equate schooling with education, can we? Schooling is formal. The word education is derived from the Latin word educo, meaning to educe, to draw out, to develop from within. An educated man isn't necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. I love the story about Henry Ford. During the war, this is during the World War, Henry Ford was called an ignorant pacifist. Now, first, I find it interesting that during the war, it was important that he be a pacifist or a patriot or a fighter. I'm not sure what the hope was there. I don't know. Anyway, so he's called this ignorant pacifist. He objected to the statements and brought suit against the paper. He called it libel. So when they went to court, the attorneys for the paper pleaded justification and placed Mr. Ford himself on the witness stand for the purpose of proving to the jury that he was ignorant. And he was asked a variety of questions, all of them intended to prove by his own evidence and the answers he gave that while he might, or no answers, that while he might possess considerable specialized knowledge pertaining to the manufacture of automobiles, he was in the main ignorant. So he was given questions like, who was Benedict Arnold? How many soldiers did the British send over to America? And I guess that was an interesting question to him, because he said, in answer to that, he says, I don't know the exact number of soldiers the British sent over, but I've heard that it was considerably larger number than ever went back. I love that answer. So there came a time pretty quickly he was tired of that level of questioning. And I guess he was asked a particularly offensive question. And he pointed his finger at the lawyer who asked that offensive question and said, if I should really want to answer the foolish question you have just asked, or any of the other questions you've been asking me, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. And by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I'm devoting most of my effort. Now, will you kindly tell me why I should clutter up my mind with general knowledge for the purpose of being able to answer questions when I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require? And what he did by that was he showed every person in the courtroom, including the attorneys and the judge, that he wasn't an ignorant man, but he was a man of education. Any man or woman who is educated knows where to find knowledge when we need it, how to organize that knowledge into definite plans of action. Now we're referring here to Mr. Ford using his mastermind group, because through that group, he had at his command all the specialized knowledge he needed to enable him to become one of the wealthiest men in America. That was how he organized it, through his mastermind group. He didn't need to know all of that in his own head. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to say that Henry Ford had his specialized knowledge, and his was in the manufacturing process. In his mastermind group, he had those with specialized knowledge in finance and in raw material and in logistics, right? What other? And in advertising or marketing. Okay. And in, I'm sure if we studied everybody he had in his mastermind group, we had an inventor, right? We had a scientist, great thinkers, people who saw things differently, who solved problems differently. So if he needed to know something, all he had to do was go to his group and say, this is what I need to know, tell me. Or I'm not sure what I need to know, but it's in your area. Make use of other people. More specifically, make use of those who have the specialized knowledge that you need, that I need, either as part of my team or part of my mastermind group, in order for me to have access, in order for my business to grow. What do you think? I think there's plenty there in the first 2 pages to have a discussion. Good morning, Cheryl. Glad you're here. Hi, Mike. Anybody want to jump in? I can go a little bit further to say that we are told here in the book that before we can be sure of our ability to transmute our desire into its monetary equivalent, we will require specialized knowledge of the service, merchandise, or profession that we're going to offer in return for that fortune. It's important to do that. So one of my specialties, one thing that I can say I have specialized knowledge in, is finding the right information. I have a skill that I'm able to put to use, where I can curate information and discern that which is appropriate for for the task at hand or to answer the question we're trying to answer. Now, sometimes the answer is no. I mean, the question could very well be, should we build a retail space or a retail brick and mortar boutique in this area, specific area? I've had those, and the information I'm able to curate is huge. We get demographics and psychographics and psychometrics of the population, and pulling all of that together combined with location statistics and other data. It's all just a big curation of, I want you to think about a huge binder, okay? Binder overflowing with paper and copy paper, right? Imagine that. So that can be what the equivalent of the type of information that I would curate for that kind of project. So going through that, it's unorganized. You can only organize it so much as you're bringing it in. It's general organization. So the next task is to organize it in terms of relevancy, and then to look deeper to say, so this 50-page report has these 3 paragraphs that point to this, what I'm trying to answer. This 3 paragraphs in another report actually reference something else. So we go there and we pull this all together and I start organizing it. And from there, I'm able to discern best what needs to be pulled in order to answer the question that was posed. In that particular instance, it was, no, you don't want to build there. And here are the details why. The primary reason to not build there that this company had no idea about, the primary reason was that that particular area was slated to become what's called brownstone, because previous buildings had included toxic chemicals that had leached into the ground, and it hadn't been settled in court or anything else, and it really wasn't public knowledge beyond just that little area. Of course, I was able to find it. You don't want to do that because you don't want the potential liability of what's going to come and the cost of funding cleanup, because it will fall to anybody who either owns the land or is on the land. So that's a skill combined with specialized knowledge. The specialized knowledge in that particular instance comes into play when we're talking about how to search. Mike, you're going to love this. When I go crazy with Boolean search strings, right? I was taught that. I was self-taught. And put myself through training in a couple instances to make sure that I was on the right path of utilizing it. Specialized knowledge of the various databases that are available to access and how to use them. Some of it came through experience, just doing and trial and error, and others came through specialized training. That's just one example of specialized knowledge now packaged and organized, right? I've got the skill and I've got the training, so I've got the ability, got the market, and I can now offer a solution to that market's problem. So that's why, knowledge is potential power. I'll go with that. Any thoughts? Catherine is saying, I think that now professors are more often teaching information than knowledge, which is part of the reason more graduates are struggling. A lot of information, but not a lot of knowledge. I don't know that it's just now that it's been happening, to be honest with you. I have a liberal arts education, and then I went into, that was business marketing. And then 15 years later, I got specialized education in electronic engineering and robotics. So I don't know that it's any different. Mike, there you are. Good morning.
I heard you talking about Boolean searching queries.
Okay, we're not going to be into it. We're not going to do a Boolean string theory or practical for practicum for anybody here.
The cool thing about talking about that, though, is it leads me to my first point here, is that when I work with clients, and they call me up and they say, I have this problem. And I walk them through the problem, and then they say, oh, I already knew how to do all that.
Yep.
They had the information, but they didn't understand how to organize the information they had to be able to put it into action. And by just simply, they knew they had someone they can draw from. So they contacted me, and I was able to take and organize their thoughts. Mm-hmm. And then I also was able to teach them how to organize their thoughts by relating it to other items that they might have had problems with within their website or whatever the project they were working on. So
it's similar to what I do with one-to-one consulting. So, and I say that because the way you talked about it is that they have the information, but I'm able to take that ability to discern and that skill I have to discern what's important with individuals. So we're focused in our conversation, and I let them just talk, right? And I hear the whole story and all the details that they've got in their head, dump on me. Sounds like exactly what you do. Dump on me. And it's like I just kind of let it swirl around, and I'm digesting, and I repeat it back to them, and they just look at me and say, well, that's it. That's it exactly. And now from there, we can start working on a solution.
Absolutely. I find all too often people start to tell you something, and then everybody wants to jump in and put their 2 cents into something. And it's like, sometimes you just need to listen and allow them to basically dump their information on you, because like we were saying in the comments about that, they're dumping information on you and not knowledge. I know that I had that experience myself when I went to college. They would give me the information, and they would expect me to figure out how to organize things.
Right.
Which, I mean, I should know how to organize things, but if nobody teaches me how to organize
there's no should about it. There's no should about it. It's a skill set that can be taught. And I agree, some schools do it better than others. Quite honestly, in the lower grades, for me, I could tell you that it was the private schools that did better at it than the public, for whatever reason. But either way, I think it's important that we understand first that you can package your specialized knowledge, as you have and as I have, in the one instance that I just gave, in other instances that I can share, and I'm sure you can as well. But the second thing that was pointed out from that 2 pages that I read from is the ability to access somebody else's specialized knowledge. So I'm going to throw it out to you in the instance of you having access to graphic designers. If you're doing web design and need assistance, because I know that your specialty is in the back end, but that you're wanting, or the customer is wanting, really pretty bells and whistles and what have you, that you access somebody who has that specialized knowledge and training, rather than try to attempt it yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. It comes down to the whole networking thing. Is you need to have a network of people to draw from. For me to know everything and put it inside my head, my head would probably literally explode.
It will feel like it's exploding.
But it would feel like it would want to explode.
Right.
So being able to have people out there that you can, tap into,
So that's one level. Okay, that's one level. That's a team that, as you said, which is beautiful. That's a network of people that have this specialized skill and knowledge that you can tap in order to provide better service to the customer, to enhance what you're already offering, that you're making money from, the specialized knowledge that you have. One more level, though, is the mastermind group. And I call that the inner circle. And I think that's what really Napoleon Hill is terming the mastermind group in Mr. Ford's case, is because this is his inner circle. There wasn't a leader or facilitator. It wasn't needed. They gathered on a regular basis and relied on each other for their individual specialized knowledge to problem solve, to see if something's going to work, right? To offer recommendations, resources, all the stuff that formal mastermind groups today offer. And that is now, instead of just, I have something I'm in need of for the next 2 weeks, like project based. This is long term for personal and professional growth, because now these people are vested in, and you are vested in their success as they are in yours, because they know that by the mutual sharing of resources and networks and knowledge, that yes, your business is going to grow, but when they need you to tap into yours, their business will grow. And it becomes a mutual peer support that is very powerful. What do you think of that?
Oh, absolutely. I always like to, I like to even network my group together. Like I have a web designer, another web designer I work with who, does a little bit different than I do. Mm-hmm. So I will actually network them out with my graphic designer, and then I'll work with the two of them together so that we can all collaborate together and celebrate each other's successes, and, listen to each other's, downfalls, or what might not work. Because together we can maybe come up with a solution that might be able to take that failure, as some people like to call it, and turn it into a success by just turning it around. Because I might have a little bit of a different opinion on something than someone else. Mm-hmm. And just simply tweaking something slightly, now it'll work.
Exactly. Love it. That's exactly what we're talking about. Anybody want to comment or jump in and join the discussion with me and Mike about, accessing other people, making sure that you have your specialized knowledge, understanding that in order for your knowledge to be profitable for you to get the monetary rewards you want, is to package your specialized knowledge. And that's interesting. Cindy's saying she thinks it's why so many people need to learn with more than one source, auditory, verbally, kinesthetically. Yeah. But also learning, it still doesn't make any difference what you know until you do something with what you know, right? So if you've determined, Mike has determined that his major definite purpose includes, for whatever monetary revenue goals he has, the basis of it is offering web services, design and development services. And there's other elements to it, I know, but keep it simple, right? That's his specialized knowledge that he's putting out there as a package for sale. And if I can't, so it makes it stick to be able to recall it when needed. Well, see, you're in the learning phase, Cindy. I'm in the, it's amazing what I don't need to know in order to have a house built. Absolutely. I don't need to know squat. Honestly. I don't need to know the first thing about material, I don't need to. Not if I have a trusted general contractor. And even though the term general is in his title, his specialized knowledge is understanding all of that so that he can select the proper contractors to come in and build my house. See the difference? He's already got the knowledge. The information's already there in my head. It's already there in my head. Now I need to organize it so that it is a solution to the problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can even take me as an example. I went back to college in 2001 to become a fitness, to understand fitness and nutrition. And I graduated with my degree in 2003, and I became certified as a personal trainer from 2003 to 2005. Okay. A group exercise instructor from 2004 to 2006. And what did I do with my degree? Absolutely nothing. I gained a whole bunch of information, but in the big picture, it really didn't apply to me. Although I have used the knowledge to, help keep myself healthier, to understand how to eat. So I did gain some knowledge as far as being able to apply it for myself. But I have all this information. It's just sitting there. So gathering information really doesn't.
That way. But also, I got to tell you, I love my liberal arts education. And it's because it suited my way of thinking. It helped to hone my thinking skills. And that which I didn't find useful, I threw away, and that which I really enjoyed, I focused my attention on to learn more, and then to see, well, how does that apply today? Or does it?
Oh yeah,
Going out and making money with it was a completely different story.
Absolutely. Yeah, the general underlying structure, I learned how to organize my thoughts and to put information together to be able to gain knowledge.
Right.
And to be able to actually apply it in a way that makes sense. So it wasn't a complete waste. College education is not a complete waste, but as far as the information for the fitness stuff, I can
you
still
need more specialized.
I can still tell you what bones and muscles go and do what, but yeah, that's not something I'm really interested in doing. I just want to continue doing what I'm doing.
Well, there you go. There you go. I like what Matt said. It's like creating a library of people with specialized knowledge to help you. That's it exactly. That is it exactly. Mike is a walking book for me when it comes to the WordPress websites. I have him fix. He is my walking book that I just call on and say, thank you, you're there. Beautiful. No, he's the one to call because he loves to fix things. He loves to fix things. Okay. He loves to make them work. Hence, he loves to fix things as well. Other people are my walking book of information on how to run my business better, on finance, on organization. As detailed as I am not the most organized person. It kills my friend when I show her, watch this. Go ahead.
And you can even break it down to even something even simpler than that. If your automobile breaks down,
oh yeah,
you have a mechanic you take it to.
He's something my walking auto shop.
Something happens in your bathroom. You have a spring a leak or something. You have a plumber you can call to come and fix that. We don't need to know how to do everything. We just need to know how to connect with those people who know how to do what we need.
That's it, and where to put it into action. I was going to say that a friend of mine that is as detailed as I am, but organized. Now, it's not like I can't find the stuff that I need. It's like nobody else can. She, on the other hand, if I walked into her office right now, I would be able to pick up any project and understand where it was. This is my organizational tool. That was yesterday. That was the day before. That
believe it or not,
this is its starting point. It works for me. It has for I'm going to say over 30 years. It works for me. But again, it does boil down to what you were saying, which is what Catherine's saying. It's not just the knowledge, as specialized as it is, but how you determine to put that knowledge to action. And that's the point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure you've seen my meal plans that I post, the images that I post out on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So even just simple as that, I mean, it doesn't, to me, organization doesn't need to be something overly complicated and doing decimal systems and, and all that cross tabulating and everything.
Hey, now I love that stuff.
You can do that.
I could have specialized in taxonomy.
But what you just showed us right now, that's a lot more than I think a lot of people are doing.
But again, I think Catherine's making the point that it's only organized if it works for you. Well, there's more to it, though. All right. So we determine what specialized knowledge we have or need to get. Because it may be that we have to go back for certification, for continued education. Hopefully you're doing that. I love continuous learning. Attending workshops to be up to speed on what's happening in the world, in whatever world you're in, whatever industry you're in. Getting the actual certifications in some areas because it lends credibility and authority to what you're offering and your services in exchange for the money that you want. But all of this is great and all of this is wonderful. You've got the specialized knowledge, you're organized, but you have to have a plan. The plan is what will determine the level of commitment, and it's the commitment will determine the level of action that you take. That's the way I see it. What do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Well, that doesn't offer any point for discussion, but okay. So, although I'm pleased that you agree with me 100%. So it does take in, we have to look at the plan, right? So it's planning, it's organizing, it is action. All based on that specialized knowledge that you've decided that's what I'm going to exchange in terms of services or related to merchandise. I mean, I may have a specialized knowledge in logistics or distribution or in, raw materials for apparel manufacturing, or in agriculture or in, goodness. There's specialized knowledge in just about everything. If I go back to my electronics degree, I was actually looking at a job at designing. Now, this is back in the day, back in the 90s, when tractors first came out with air-conditioned cabs and GPS. I could have been a part of the team that was designing that before it hit the market. I interviewed, somebody else got the job, better person got the job, was perfect for him. And he's doing great. But again, that specialized knowledge needed to be a part of that team in order for it to work. And it wasn't the design aspect. It was the understanding of the electronics that was so important, and combining it with the other stuff and working with the hardware. What's the plan? I could have a specialized knowledge in retail systems, right? Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Like you said, automotive, batteries, power, solar, whatever that specialized knowledge is, you've got it. Recognize that you've got it. Now let's package it so that it becomes a service that can be offered in exchange for money so that you can reach your monetary goals and get the riches that you're looking for. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. I see a lot of people around me personally that have the specialized knowledge, but they just haven't put the plan together. And so I'm working with a few of them to be able to package that together so that they can use it. Because I can have specialized knowledge in how to fix toilets.
Yeah.
But if I don't actually put a plan together, then what good is that specialized knowledge?
Or is that the knowledge that you want to actually put out there? Do you want to be a plumber?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I have specialized knowledge in areas that I've decided, just as you did with the nutritional background, right? That it's nice to have and it's nice to know, and I had a lot of fun getting it, but that's really not the direction I want to take. Right. But even having said all that, I can tell you had said that college helped to organize your thoughts, give you structure on how to do things, how to frame things, and what have you. Even with all the education that I've got, I'm a firm believer that knowledge and education is the foundation for freedom. And it's because I don't think you can't know enough. I really don't. I just think that if you get stuck in the learning stage, nothing gets done and you can't go anywhere. But everything that I've learned has in some way assisted me in what I do today. I don't work on robotic systems today. I don't work on hardware, network systems, programming. I don't do any of that anymore. But I got to tell you, that way of thinking, the troubleshooting aspect, the way of seeing beyond the whole to look for issues and to problems, that was greatly enhanced skill that I learned on the job, dealing with intense problems that took days to figure out the solution, took teams to come in. And then in my design time, the same thing applied. Am I looking at everything? What if I did this instead, which is classic troubleshooting stuff, comes into play here greatly. So it's additional skills that are learned, putting some of that specialized knowledge to use that can assist along the way, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, I may not be doing the fitness day to day, but the ability to do something and then to test the results to see if this actually accomplished what I was trying to do. That helps me greatly, because like you were saying with the websites, with the troubleshooting, I may not know exactly what the problem is, but I know how to use Mr. Google and other resources to find out what might be the problem. And then I can go in and look at the code and figure out the problem. And then, of course, I see that the results actually did achieve what I was going after. So the basics of what I've learned as far as the learning process goes works out pretty well for me.
Yeah, same here. Anybody want to comment or jump in? Say hey, join the conversation. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Craig. Good to see you here. Talking about, more specifically, we're talking about specialized knowledge and its importance. Understanding that it's more profitable to have a specialized knowledge versus a general knowledge because it can be packaged easier. It's much easier to package a solution, a single solution to a single problem, than being good for everybody, right? It's not good to have knowledge and not share it. So, yeah, some people love to learn for the sake of learning. For me, I think it's fun to share knowledge. I get a big kick out of it, and I learn a little bit more about what it is I'm sharing when I'm in discussions with others, whether it be anything about, emotional, physical, spiritual, or mental pieces and parts that I know, and learning from others is great. So I don't know that I would put a good or a bad to it, but for me personally, it's more fun to be able to share the knowledge. It's really fun when I see light bulbs go off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, that sharing the knowledge is how I was able to decide whether or not I was going to transition from designing websites, specifically only doing websites, to actually teaching people how to do websites, because I was able to take the knowledge that I have and relay it to someone else, and I could see that the light bulb's going off. And I can see, okay, maybe there is something to this. Maybe I can actually teach people how to do what I do.
See, that's why I love being a trainer. The live workshops that I do and record and resell, and one-to-one trainings, group trainings. That's why I love to train, is that I watch somebody doing something and suddenly it clicks. You can see that all the dots suddenly connected for them. And the excitement that, I can do this. Yes. Oh. It's like, yeah, you can. Now go forth and do.
Yeah, I know. I used to teach computer classes for senior citizens when I lived in Pennsylvania years ago, and I actually took a gentleman who didn't even know how to turn on a computer. He didn't realize there was a button you pushed to turn it on.
I get it.
He actually was able to take pictures with a digital camera. He was able to email his grandchildren the pictures. He was able to do a whole wide array of things just by someone being willing to take the time to share the information and to connect the dots.
Nice.
Because, I could have given him the information. We already were in printed form, but he wasn't. But seeing the word jump off the page and connect the dots to show him how to get from point A to point B.
That's the part that energizes me as well. Good morning, Marcy. Welcome. It energizes me as well. Now, I don't want my entire services to be focused on training. That's why I offer the other services that I do, because I have since learned that everything can gel together, but they also work very well in separate pieces. And I enjoy the variety. I like being able to do the three distinctly different things within my business. And I have different team people that I can bring in. I have different, well, for you, as you know, I bring you in when I have a client that has issues with a website. I'm not going in there anymore. I don't want to know. That's why we have Mike. I don't want to touch that. That's why I have copywriters. That's why this is for just the web services that I still support, social media management, social media training, all the stuff that I do on that aspect of other people doing the tactics, because I know where I'm best suited and where my specialized knowledge comes into play in those.
Well, as not only that, but as there was a comment earlier about the different learning styles. Mm-hmm. You also got to realize that not everybody's going to want to be trained on how to do something. Some people just simply want to give you some money and say, do it. I don't even need to worry about the intricacies of it. You seem to be a leader in your field. Here's some money. Just fix the problem, and then I don't have to worry about it.
That's it.
So even though as everybody is learning different styles, like for myself, I like to learn by actually doing it. I'm tactile. Don't tell me how to do something on the computer, don't show me how to do something on the computer. Tell me how to do it and let me do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, learning styles, but either way, we have to make the decision when to stop learning and start doing. So I want to emphasize, again, just the first 2 pages of this chapter, that one of the things, and you said this earlier, is that you're able to work with people to take all the knowledge that they have and let's figure out a package you can put together so that you can make money from this. Because not all specialized knowledge is easy to make money from. I mean,
yeah,
really,
that's true.
When you think about it, it's, you could have specialized knowledge about redworms, and until the environmental focus over the past 20 years occurred in the U.S., nobody could care less about composting and your specialized knowledge about redworms, right? Is there a market for what you know? That's where having somebody else, maybe part of your mastermind group, can help determine, really, how do you determine what it is out there that you have a solution? Do you really have a market for it? Are you able to package that solution so that the market will respond well to it? And here's Betsy. Exactly what I'm doing is I create my online course. It's the packaging and marketing that makes or break it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, marketing is the message. And if people don't understand the message, they're not going to buy your product. That's why marketing supports sales. I love people who say everything's marketing, and I'm like, no, it's not. You have consumption, that's the buyer. You have the sale, which is the seller saying, oh, look, I'll take your money for this. And then you have the marketing that supports the sale that says, oh, the buyer now knows all they need to know and feels compelled to buy it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a perfect example. Years ago, there was a company that came up with a create your own calendar. Basically, we provided you the calendar in the store. You go, you pick it up, and you put your own photos on it, and you mail it in, and then they would mail you back out a calendar with all the photos.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right on there.
Okay.
So it's a really nice idea. The problem was that they weren't able to produce the calendars quickly enough to be able to actually keep the cash flow coming in. So without the cash flow, they went out of business. So you have to have all the pieces. You have to put all the pieces
together. Yeah, there's a lot
together.
more into it.
It's not just one thing.
Yep. So again, anybody here want to talk about it with us? Jump on in the last few minutes of the program and give your thoughts about, you're welcome to join me and Mike. We have an empty seat here, yours. Come on in, fill the seat and say, hey, talk about how you have accessed other people with specialized knowledge in order to move forward with your goal, when it comes to your financial goals. How's that one?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not every day you're going to get access to someone like myself or Charlene.
Well, we're not talking about that. We can talk afterwards about that if necessary. But, what do you do? Who do you go to when you're stuck, when you need to know? There's a information overload. It's always been around, quite honestly. You can go into a library and get information overload. People who don't understand how to use search engines can get information overload. And because the great skill is discerning which is really important and relevant to what you're looking for. The person that is the expert in the thing I need to know. Yeah. So it begins with understanding that there are some things that you need an understanding of, like a high level, but don't necessarily need to understand all the details of how it actually works. And that's the person you go to do the work part. That's the way I see it. Finding the person you can trust, not telling me what I want to hear. Oh, yeah. That's why relationship building helps. But also, how do you find those people that you can put around you? Can you do it pretty quickly? I think you can. I think you can. It's knowing what you're looking for is number one, understanding your core values and who aligns with that, and then begin developing that relationship. All right, so we have from Cindy, okay, I think I get it. I suppose it's like I can diagnose problems with cars because of the many cars I've had over the years that were in need of work. Do I want to fix cars? No. Will I tell my friends what I think is the issue? Yes. Then they can go to the mechanic with knowledge. However, if someone told me they were getting bombarded with friend requests from people they don't want, I'll gladly teach them how to fix or do it for them. Yeah, that's it. I have a general knowledge about vehicles. I can pretty much pinpoint what the trouble is when it comes to the combustion engine. And then you can go forth and have the guy with the specialized knowledge, the mechanic, actually do the work for you, confirm the diagnosis and do the work. Or I can have that specialized knowledge myself and not only tell you what the problem is, but then offer to fix it for you for a fee. Right? I think Absolutely. You got it. I think you Absolutely. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Good. We got it. I think we can close out the program with that. I'll end the recording, and then we'll keep the room open and have a conversation. I do have a team meeting at the top of the next hour, so can keep the room open for about 30 minutes or so for continued discussion. I want to thank you for joining me in the live stream. Mike, thank you for the chat. Good comments, great questions, thoughtful. I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate that. Thank you to those watching. Glad that you've hung with us this long, and those watching the replay, thanks for hanging with us this long. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.